Hello and welcome to Preview Eye on the Arts. I'm your host, Laureen Morick, and I have a fantastic little show for you today. I can't wait for you to meet my dear friend, Stan Cline. Good to see you, Stan. I'm so happy you're here.
Well, thank you, and it's nice to be here.
I can't wait to talk all about your nostalgic work and your current work. How long have you been painting scenes of California?
Well, I started out 33 years ago by accident doing a painting of Angel's Flight. And when I finished it, I realized everything in the picture was gone. So I said, what else can I do in Los Angeles that's not around anymore? And that's how everything started.
And that's how you developed your business, Nostalgic Graphics?
Well, at first I didn't know what I was going to do because afterwards, it took me about, I'd say, a couple of years, and I did 13 paintings, like the original 13 colonies. I did 13 paintings. And then when I finished it, I says, well, what do I do with these now?
Yeah.
Do I donate them to the city? Do I put them in a museum? I had no idea what to do with them.
So was it like your hobby? You had a regular job?
I've always been an artist. I majored in art in high school. I went to the Art Center College of Design, and all my jobs have always been in the art field. Tell
me why you picked Angel's Flight and its
I guess because Angel's Flight was gone. It was torn down in 1969 in Bunker Hill. Bunker Hill is the area where it was. And it was something a lot of people talked about, and we all missed it. And they said that when they tore it down, they're going to rebuild it someday. Sure they are. What happened is it was declared a historical landmark, which meant they couldn't destroy it. And it was put in a warehouse for years. And a little story about Angel's Flight, it was at the corner of 3rd and Hill Street. And it was Colonel Eddy, who was a senator from Illinois and a close personal friend of Abraham Lincoln, that came out here to Los Angeles, and he saw a need to get some type of transportation up to the top of Bunker Hill. This is before they had automobiles, and they had horses, and it was very steep to get up there.
Oh, yes.
And a lot of times the horses were spooked, and it caused a lot of problems. So he developed the idea of, it's called a funicular railway, to go up to the top of Bunker Hill, where all the Victorian houses were. In fact, this is what Bunker Hill looked like before Angel's Flight. This is 1890. Where this hill is up here, this dirt road, is where they put in the tunnel, the 3rd Street Tunnel. The house on the top up there was owned by the Crocker family, which is the bank family.
Oh, yes.
They bought that land, built the house, had it all imported crystal chandeliers and everything the finest for $5,000.
Whoa, that was pretty good. But even then, to have $5,000.
Yeah, it must have been a lot.
Yeah, it must have been a lot.
So then he approached the city of Los Angeles, Colonel Eddy, about putting Angel's Flight up. And they says, the only way we'll allow you to do it, because he was going to finance it himself. They said, the only way we'll allow you to do it is on the opposite side. You've got to put stairs for people that cannot afford the 2.5 cents to ride it up, 5 cents round trip.
Oh, he was probably a politician.
Yeah. Oh, a friend of Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
So, he did that, and the city built that. And it lasted until 1969. It was rickety. Really
Stan, are
bad.
you a historian too?
Yes.
I think you are. I think you are. So does the history inspire you as much as doing the painting? Like you want to make it authentic and...
It's definitely authentic, to the point that when I put a car in, it's got to have the correct license plates from those years. If you'll also notice on this one, since it was 1932, and I've got the Los Angeles Railway trolley car there, 1932 we had the Olympics in Los Angeles. So on the side of the trolley there I put that sign, "Welcome to Los Angeles for the Summer Games," and the dates.
Do you work with a magnifying glass? Because this is pretty small.
Not really.
You just sit in your studio and do you sketch it out first?
Oh, definitely. It takes me about a month to do each original painting. And there's a lot of research that goes into it. I've got to do sketches of it. This one, my research in the beginning was very crude compared to nowadays. Now I use the computer for everything.
Oh, right, yes.
But at that time, I had an 8mm movie. And I put it up on the screen, and then I would stop it and sketch different areas of it so I would know what it looked like. So I laugh at that when I think about how I did it then, 33 years ago, compared to now, how I'll go down there and take pictures of it digitally, and also go online and see what other pictures there are to get a close-ups of the buildings and all that. So things have really changed.
Have you changed much in your application of the work?
People have said, by looking at my work over the years, that they've noticed some minor changes in things as I'm going along.
Yeah.
And like as I said, this is one of my first paintings, and this is I did this one in 2010. So
do you sell your paintings?
I do sell my originals, but then as far as I make prints of everything in different sizes, 11x14 matted, 16x20 matted, and canvas prints.
Oh, nice.
That happens to be one of my canvas prints, which I didn't do in the beginning, but I do them now, canvas prints. And we're getting into more of it.
Stan, I'm interested to know, like, what medium do you use? Is this oil paint?
No, it's acrylics. They're acrylics on canvas.
Wow, that's really nice. And you do all this shading and everything?
Well, first of all, when I do a painting, I get all my research together. Then what I do is I do a tissue drawing of it. And that I make all my changes on. And then what I do is I'll put the tissue over the canvas and redraw it onto the canvas. And then I start painting. First I always put the sky in. You put your largest details in first. Skies, streets, and things like that. Then you go to the smaller details. You work from back forward.
Tell me about this one. That one really looks good.
The Los Angeles County Courthouse. And next to it was the Hall of Records.
Ah.
But the LA County Courthouse had a lot of interesting history. It was the first building in the United States to have an outside glass elevator. And it went up to the Wedding License Bureau, so they called it the honeymoon elevator.
Oh, that was nice.
And the original, when the building was built in the 1800s, the front of it faced the east side, and the reason is because that was the population of Los Angeles. As the city grew and the population moved to the west side, the main entrance moved to the west side. So then in 1932, we had the Long Beach Compton earthquake, which structurally damaged that building. Mm. They didn't desert it, but what they did is the Hall of Records next to it, they put ramps to go to each one of the different floors. Because the elevators, it's funny, but the elevators in that building abruptly stopped 1 month before the earthquake.
Is this building still standing?
No, they tore it down a couple of years later. It's a shame they had to tear it down because it was called the Red Sandstone Courthouse.
Oh, nice.
It was a beautiful building. And but the government buildings are still in that area.
Yes.
But,
and this one?
This one is around 1950, the early 50s, the corner of Sunset and Vine in Hollywood. That's the NBC studios, which their call letters were KNBH Channel 4 at that time. Across the street was ABC, which on there it says KECA Channel 7. Notice these call letters are different now.
Yes.
And then down the street here was CBS, which was KNXT, well, which was originally KTSL, Channel 2.
The one behind you, what is this? This Carthay Circle?
This is the Carthay Circle Theater, which was on San Vicente and right off of Wilshire, Fairfax, in that area.
This is still standing, right?
No, no. This was torn down in 1969, National General Corporation had bought the theaters out from Fox. And they wanted to put up their twin office buildings there, so they tore it down, which is a real shame because this was well known for its premieres.
Yes.
A lot of premieres got started here.
Tell me, Stan, who's your customer? Who buys your artwork?
Generally people that have lived in Los Angeles all their lives, most of their lives, natives. They remember these things and they have fond memories of them. And even though there's people that buy them because they like the cars in them.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of car fanatics in our town.
Yeah, and I try to put classic cars in all the different scenes. Like this one here is the 1920s, so I got cars from that period of time, and then the 1950s.
It's so realistic. It sort of looks like a photograph of the street while it's happening.
Yeah, this is what people tell me. This is, oh, I thought it was a photograph.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a painting. You know, but I put all the things in there that aren't there anymore. You notice the old type signal with the arms on them?
Yes, I see it.
Yeah, those were called semaphore signals. And they would have a bell on it that would ding. It would say, stop, ding, go. And I just started driving just right at the end of those, and there was one right at the corner where I lived. And you didn't get a warning, like a yellow sign telling you that it's going to stop. All of a sudden you're driving by, ding, stop.
Yeah.
And as a new driver, it scared you. You don't know what to do.
So you stopped.
A lot of these things are things that I remember in my life, and that's why I put them into my paintings.
Do you ever do vacation areas when you're vacationing and things like that?
Yes, I do. One is the skyline of New York, which I did in 1993 on vacation. One I did of Honolulu, also around the same period of time.
Yeah.
And the way I did that is I took a harbor cruise, and I would take my camera and take pictures of it, little by little, and then create it all together, put it together.
You do a remarkable body of work. How many paintings do you do a year?
It takes me about a month to do a painting. I don't do as many as I used to. I used to do, when I was really going at it, maybe 11, 12 a year. Now I'll do maybe half that amount, slowing down. This painting here with the county courthouse on it, or I should say all my original 12 or 13 paintings, I was talking about before, I didn't know what to do with them. I was using, for a part of my research, the California Historical Society, which was in the Tycor building on Wilshire Boulevard in central LA. And so they would ask me, would you like to have a showing of your paintings here? And I said, sure. So what we did is we had to evaluate the paintings, price them, and then I had a showing there. And one day a woman came in and said to me, the original on Ocean Park Pier, which I'll show you that one, is that for sale? Well, at that time I didn't know whether I was going to sell them or what I was going to do with them.
But then your mind started to go, money.
No, she did.
Ah.
This woman, she's from a historic family in Los Angeles, and in fact it was her father that built that. And she said, I'd like to commission you to do another one of it from an earlier period of time. Well, that gave me enough money to start doing prints of them, and then I got manufacturer reps to start putting them into stores, and that's how it all started.
Oh, how
So this has been
nice.
very rewarding in all the years that I've done it.
Tell me about this one.
This is the painting that got me started in my business. When I say that, I had a showing, my very first showing, at the California Historical Society, the Tycor building in Los Angeles on Wilshire Boulevard. And when I had my original 13 paintings on display, this one woman came up to me and she says, I would like to buy that one. How much is it? Well, I never thought of selling them or even knew how much to charge because I didn't know what I was going to do with my paintings. So, you know, here I was in my 30s. And so I told her, I says, I'm really not selling these because I don't know whether I want to donate them to the city or the museum or what. She says, could you make me a print of them? I says, gee, that's an idea. I never thought about prints.
Yeah.
And then she says, also, my father was Mr. Lick. As you can see, it said Lick Pier, Ocean Park Pier. He owned the pier, and it burnt down in 1925. But in 1924, it looked different, and I have pictures of it. I'd like to give you some pictures and have you do an original for me. And this is what I did. I did an original of the old style, which had a big dome. See where it says Dome Theater?
Uh-huh.
It had a big dome theater there. And so I did that painting, and then she also wanted to buy prints. I went out and found out how to do prints, and that was my first. Those were photo prints at that time. Where now we're doing digital prints on canvas and all that. But that's how I got started in it.
Wow.
And because it was her father that owned the pier. She eventually commissioned me to do other paintings. Her family owned the Lick Observatory, which was up in San Jose area. And she had me do that painting. And also East Side Beer. Her family had owned that. Los Angeles
she was
Brewery.
an art patron too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. This looks like it just happened a minute ago. Tell me about this one.
The observatory is a painting that I've wanted to do for a long time. I had a whole file on a lot of different views of the observatory at Griffith Park. Yeah. And about a month before the space shuttle came by, I said, this is my next painting. Not thinking I would put the space shuttle in it, but what I was going to do is I was going to show this with the downtown skyline at night. I was going to do a night scene of it.
Uh-huh.
And so as I was getting everything ready, all of a sudden I heard about how the shuttle was going to come over the Griffith Park Observatory. And I said, gee, I'd like to go to it. And I was thinking of going there. But then I figured there's going to be a big crowd, never knowing how big it actually was. I don't know if you saw pictures of it, but it was wall-to-wall people.
Well, it was a historic moment, one of your kind of things.
So that's why I decided, okay, I'm going to put the shuttle in the painting. And this is my most current painting, which, believe it or not, I just finished it yesterday. I had to go downtown 2 or 3 times to get different pictures of the skyline. And then this was one of the hardest things, the 2 chase planes that were up there. You know, because all the pictures you see of it, it's in a distance, real small.
Yeah, and you wanted them in the front.
Well, I wanted to see what they look like.
Yes.
So I went online, went on NASA, put on their chase planes, and got pictures of it and knew what it looked like.
Amazing what you could find. And I also know that you did the ballpark. Did you do the ballpark in its current way, or did you go back many years ago where the LA Dodgers are?
Dodger Stadium painting. First of all, I started doing a whole series of baseball parks. I started out with the 2 old Los Angeles parks, which was Gilmore Field, the Hollywood Stars, and Wrigley Field, the Los Angeles Angels, both of the minor league Pacific Coast League. And people says, well, why don't you do Dodger Stadium? Well, it was new and modern, and I really had no desire to do anything new because I do all the things from the past. But then they were going to go into the World Series. This was in 1988. So people said, you got to do it, you got to do it. So I did a painting of Dodger Stadium, and then what I did is after they won the World Series, I says, you know, I'm going to go downtown and take my painting down there and see if I can get any signatures.
That was a good idea.
And well, what I did is I went there, and the crowds at City Hall lawn were so huge, and I'm carrying this big painting. There's no way I could get up there. So I happen to know one of the councilmen, and who had a lot of my paintings, in fact, even in his office there. And I went there and I talked to them. Do you think there's any way I can get up? Because this was Mayor Bradley, and he was going to entertain the Dodgers up for a luncheon. And one of the girls in the office said, I'll tell you what, why don't you leave the painting here? After the lunch, I'll take it up there, and see if I can get anyone to sign it. And so I came back a couple hours later, and I said, "Did you get any pictures or any signatures on it?" "Oh, I forgot about it. I better go up and see what's what." So she comes back and she gives it to me. Every one of the Dodgers had signed it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
All their signatures on it, Lasorda, even Mayor Tom Bradley, and everybody had signed it. What I did after that is I made a limited edition, I think maybe 50 of them with the signatures on. Sold out almost immediately at it. I was asked by the Dodgers, because I wanted to donate one of the prints to the Dodgers, if I'd come down and be a guest of the Dodgers, and they'd had me on the field, introduce me, and I presented one of the prints to Tommy Lasorda.
Oh my goodness, that must have been a good moment for you.
Yeah, I even wore my Dodger jacket.
I want to thank you so much for coming here to City Hall. I want you to know that 2 of our council members own pieces of your work very proudly, 2 local guys, and you've been a wonderful addition to our art show for many, many years, and I'd like to tell everybody to be sure to come to our art show. We have it every May. Stan is always there. I give him a wonderful location, and you can buy his original work. You can meet him and his lovely wife. They're always there together, and it makes for a beautiful day in Calabasas and a beautiful way to celebrate art. So thank you for watching. It was great to be here. I'll be seeing you soon. Thanks for watching CTV.